What do Black History Month mean to you?
You know, it means for me a reflection and a really connectedness with our history, my history, and the history that I've been familiar with in terms of just my Blackness and operating from excellence. I don't like, for the most of the culture, I wish we would get away from celebrating Black history in the terms of who we were as enslaved people, and that we've moved to celebrating who we are like now and what our generations and generations before us have created and cultivated, instead of it being about the enslavement of our people and how we strived out of that. I wish it would be more of a celebration of our Blackness and all that we accomplished despite our many years of oppression, and still in many ways being oppressed or trying to be oppressed, but how we still continue to elevate and execute and create from these just sort of small pockets of resources and, access and, wealth, that we still somehow continue to strive. And so Black History Month for me is around the celebration of who we are and what we've accomplished, instead of sort of where we came from and what we didn't have, and how we still struggle in not having enough, but we still do enough for what we have.
Gotcha. And there's a lot of Black history that's missing or not being talked about.
Yes.
They usually, during Black History Month, talk about the same
Same
people.
stuff. They still doing, one of my girlfriend's kids was like, oh, she's doing a Black History Project. And I was like, oh, what? She was like, oh, some such and such from 1934 or 2020. And I'm like, why? Like, there's so many Black excellent people who've done amazing things within the last 5 years that we could talk about. Why does it have to be someone a slave or someone back from 100 years ago for us to show, this level of connectedness too? Like, I wish it would just be about what we're doing instead of about everything the emphasis being on what we came from and, how much we, again, maintained this level of struggle, but still excelled through that. If we had more emphasis on the celebrating and the where we are, and yes, some education around where we came from, but not be so just, we go back to that every month. Like, we go back to that, and this is what it means. But I feel like the story among us being enslaved should be elevated to, like, yeah, we were, and then this happened, and that happened, and this happened. We lose some of those stories. If you're not educated, if you're not going back, we don't know a lot of the movements that we had as Black people. It's just slavery, it's civil rights movement, and now we're just free. Right? There's some stories or experiences in between those times that we don't know of unless we really go back and look and read about those experiences.
It's sad, and most of the people that are talking about those stories are getting old now, so it might just die with them. Yeah. Yeah. We should move like the Jewish people. I respect the Jewish people. Like, you say one thing about them, they come together and they shutting that down.
Yeah, like, they should. Yeah. I see they trying to cancel Whoopi. Because of her comments.
Yeah, so if we was able to move like that, build a community like that, we can go far. But sadly, everybody thinks everybody's against each other.
But I think that narrative is developing, and I think sometimes if we stop suggesting that we're against each other and we stop believing that that's a part of why we're disconnected, that we can grow beyond that.
True. Plus the younger generation too, starting to take the mantle, and
it's like you have to create a new opportunity and mindset around why we're disconnected, and it's not because we're pitting against each other. It's really because we need to cultivate more relationships with each other. I think understanding and have more experiences with each other, and those are only void when we don't connect, not because we're against each other, but because of whatever things that kind of keep us sheltered from connecting with people. So if I think we grow and more so focusing on what we want and less on what we have, we would cultivate more of what we want from each other, around each other and in our experiences together.